Hey, happy Sunday. Oh man, there's a glare on my glasses again. I gotta start wearing contacts when I do these things. Whatever, I don't care if you can see my eyeballs, there's just gonna be a glare on my glasses today. Okay, hi, happy Sunday. Yes, hello. We are fresh into 2020. Everyone's probably thinking about their New Year's resolutions and what they want out of this coming year, etc., etc. I am not going to sit here and deliver some New Year's resolution cliche strategy crap because you probably have gotten enough of that. Actually, what I have for you this week is a very quick instructional video. I made a couple of these a long time ago, back when the channel was still pretty new, to help you get your first pull-up and also to help improve your handstands. So many of you guys have asked for this video and I wasn't sure if I was ready to tackle it, but I think at this point I feel good about it. I'm gonna help you get a muscle up. That's gotta be somebody's goal for 2020, right? To get your first muscle up. Hopefully, what I will show you in this video will help you get there. I think a lot of people sometimes think that like every 6 months they can just jump up on the rings and give it a go and one of those times it will work. Like I probably worked on my muscle ups 2 to 3 times a week for a consistent 6-month period. And that's when I finally was able to get my first muscle up. Anyway, I'm just gonna jump into it and give you some tips and tricks and information that will hopefully help you get your first muscle up. Or if you already have a muscle up, maybe improve the skill. So first, really quickly, I wanna talk about some prerequisites. I want to say that really everybody should be able to do a strict muscle up before they do a kipping muscle up. But I know you guys, and I know the community, and I know myself, and I know that that's probably just not gonna happen. If you're not going to have a strict muscle up before you attempt a kipping muscle up, I will say that you should be able to do multiple strict pull-ups and multiple strict dips. Like, if you don't have the foundational strength of strict pull-ups and strict dips before you go trying to go crazy with your kipping ring muscle ups, like, you're probably gonna get hurt, it's gonna be really hard, it's gonna take forever to improve that skill, and you're also just like missing out on the foundational strength that's gonna make you a better athlete. So I do suggest, if you do not have strict pull-ups or strict dips, begin by working on those. Next, I'm gonna give you 4 different drills or progressions that you can do in order to work your way towards your first kipping muscle up. And then at the end, I'm gonna kind of give you some pointers about like body position and things to think about and attack while you're attempting your muscle ups. But before I do any of that, I do wanna give you one pointer that is also going to apply to all of these drills. I would be amiss if I didn't talk about a false grip. I still keep a pretty aggressive false grip on my kipping ring muscle up. The likelihood of you getting your very first muscle up in an open grip or natural grip is like slim to none. So I do recommend that you practice your false grip and you make sure you're holding a false grip on any muscle up attempt that you do. But I also want you to be holding a false grip on all of these drills that I'm about to show you. And I mean, you can actually see on me right now, I have these marks on my wrist. Come on, camera, focus on the right place. These marks on my wrist, here. Yeah, here and here and here. Those are all from doing ring muscle ups in my false grip. Okay, you know what? This is really hard to show you without a ring, so we're going to cut to a moment later today when I go to the garage and show you how to hold the false grip. Okay, so false grip. Everyone knows, right? Knuckles touch. Top knuckle too, not middle knuckle here. But what I don't want you to do is to be in this open grip or natural grip, right? And then just, where are we? Back here. And then just kind of choke up on it. So, oh yeah, look, my knuckles are touching, but look at this huge gap between my wrist and the ring. In a false grip, there should be no gap there. The pressure should actually be on that intersection of your wrist and the palm of your hands. So what I want you to do is to put your hand through the ring like this. Get this one out of the way for a second. Hand through the ring, right? So you can move your hand up and down. The pressure is on your wrist here, right? Like right below the palm of your hand. And then at that point, you can lay your hand on top of the ring. So there's still a contact point where my wrist is, but now I also have a contact point in the whatever you call that, where my thumb meets my hand. So when you're like that, your top knuckles are touching, but your wrist is also up and over the ring like that. Because if you're in this natural grip, right, and you just kind of, oh yeah, look, I'm in a false grip, but you've got this big gap there, the second you put any pressure, you're just gonna fall like that. But in your false grip, if you put pressure, you should be able to pull up. You shouldn't fall out of that, right? So your swing will start here. You'll start open like this. And then as you swing, you'll come in, you'll come in, come in, come in. Now your feet should be out in front of you, hollow body position. Now you're pulling up, pulling up, pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Turn over. And now you're in a great position to then dip out. Versus you're in your natural grip, right? So you swing, back swing like this. Your feet are in front of you, hollow body. You're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling. How are you gonna, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go. You cannot get up and over your wrist when it's like this. Got it? That's our quick lesson on false grip. Okay, now that you know how to hold a false grip and what I mean by false grip, we can get into all these different drills. So the first drill I'm gonna show you is a banded drill on the low rings. So you'll take a green band, you'll wrap it around one of the rings, and then you'll kind of stand next to the rings, wrap that band around you, hold on to it on the other ring, and kind of sit down on that band. So for this drill, I want your focus to be on your hips. I don't want you, it's going to be very easy to just initiate from your arms and pull up and around the rings, but I really want you to feel the kind of power your hips can have and what they should be doing when you're up on the high rings. So what I like to do is kind of raise my toes up a little bit, so I'm kind of in a V. You really want to be in more of a hollow body, but it does turn into a little bit of a V. I'm raising my feet in order to lower my hips. From this starting position, you'll then thrust your hips up to the ceiling and then transition around those rings. And what the band will help you with is taking off a lot of the weight, so you don't have to pull quite as hard. It's like doing a banded pull-up, right? It's taking some of your body weight off so that it's easier for you to pull up and around the rings. The second drill I'm gonna show you is a very similar drill, but instead of a band, you're gonna be using a box. I set my box at 24 inches, and it's just far away enough. If my arms are perpendicular to the floor, that box is kind of right where my heels hit. So then on this drill, you'll start the same way, but you're gonna be in more of an aggressive V, right? So you'll let your hips drop, you'll keep your feet on the box, and then again, initiating from the hips, you're going to drive to the ceiling, your feet will come off the box, and then again, you'll pull up and around the rings, and you wanna tuck your feet in so they end directly underneath you. If you have the proper strength for a muscle up, you will be able to pull up and around the rings, tuck your feet in, and catch high enough that your feet never hit the ground. If you let your feet fall, they're gonna bring your whole body with you. So when you're up on those rings, you don't wanna just like let your feet be this dead weight that bring you back to the floor, because then your arms and your pull strength is gonna be constantly fighting against those feet. The third drill I'm going to tell you about is really, honestly, very quite simple, and maybe, I'm not gonna say the most helpful because it's not, but as far as creating the foundational strength for a muscle up, this will be the most helpful. And it's just negatives. So you will hop up on a box, jump up to the top of the ring so you are in a front support and a nice hollow body, and then slowly, 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 slowly lower to the bottom of your dip. This is gonna be the hardest part. Slowly, slowly lean back and reverse that transition, and then slowly lower as you straighten your arms and reverse that pull up. The hardest part is going to be the transition. What you want to do is never allow the rings to leave your body. But when you're reversing that transition, you do want to kind of try and move into that false grip, put a lot of pressure on those wrists. That'll help you not fall. And then as you reverse your pull up, try and maintain that false grip. Negatives are always gonna be the best thing for any skill to help you build that foundational strength for that skill. Okay, the last drill I'm gonna talk to you about is not necessarily a drill, but kind of falls under this category, and that is get spotted. This is the thing that finally allowed my muscle up to click and allowed me to be able to do one on my own. If your coach is good and knowledgeable, and hopefully they should be able to spot you on a ring muscle up. You are doing the skill on your own, and they're providing a little bit of support either on your butt or your back to kind of just assist you within that transition. But what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to feel what a muscle up feels like. Spotted muscle ups are something that are not used enough, but it really is so important in allowing you to feel that skill and feel that transition and feel what it's like to do it the right way and do it well. Because it's like, yes, you're doing it in the drills, but your body's not in the exact same position because you're either sitting in a band or your feet are on a box or, you know, whatever. So when you're up on the high rings, the only thing it knows is failing, and the only thing it's felt is failing. Having someone spot you on a muscle up allows your body to start learning what it feels like to do it right and to do it successfully. In my demos, I was never finishing the dip because these drills are mostly about like learning that transition and getting up onto the rings, because it's under the assumption that you can then dip out. If you're gonna use them as modifications in a WOD, I would complete the rep and dip out into a lockout, because that's gonna allow you to then build the strength of the dip as well. So yeah, those are the 4 drills that I would say, those are the 4 drills that helped me get my muscle up anyway. I'm sure there are so many other drills out there that you can do. 3 out of 4 of these you can do on your own with very minimal setup. I would do them before or after my training session 2 or 3 times a week. I was getting spotted on muscle ups 2 or 3 times a week. I was doing strict pull-ups and strict dips 2 or 3 times a week. And I was doing that for 6 months solid before I got my first muscle up. And even after I got that first muscle up, I still did those things a couple times a week. I would warm up with the drills. I would be spotted for a couple muscle ups before I did some attempts on my own. I would scale down the reps in WODs to make sure that I was setting myself up for success. So now, say you're really close, you almost have it, right? Or maybe you've gotten it 1 or 2 times, but you're having trouble replicating it, right? I'm gonna give you a couple tips about body position and ways to attack it to kind of give you that extra oomph to get there and to get a little bit more proficient in it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna say is stay tight. I mean, you guys have all heard the expression, stiff as a board, light as a feather, right? When you're squeezing and you're holding that hollow body position and your abs are tucked and your legs are squeezing and tight and together and your toes are pointed, your body is lighter and easier to manipulate. My next tip is, I have a huge problem with this, especially when I start getting tired, but you need to keep your chest up. Over and over again, they tell you lean back and lift your hips to the bar. So then your body ends up being parallel to the floor. And then I'm gonna kind of wind my chest back and whip it around, and you can get a wind up like that, right? But say you're here, right? And you kind of make that swing and you do your back swing, and then you come up here, but you keep your chest up, and then you can just whip around like that. It's a much shorter distance to travel. So sometimes I give myself that cue of chest up. If you feel like maybe you're leaning back too much, try giving yourself that cue. False grip we talked about, but I'm gonna remind you, keep a false grip. It is going to make that transition a million times easier. So to tag on the false grip one, maybe set up 2 boxes next to the rings, have 1 foot on each box so that you could then swing between the boxes is the idea. And this is gonna allow you to help set up the false grip. It's gonna be much harder to jump into a false grip than it will be to stand on some boxes, get into that false grip, and slowly lower. And then my last tip is going to be this, and this may not work for all of you, but this is something that is most definitely just my opinion. But I see people taking so many swings, and I think we're all just kind of waiting for that one swing to feel better than all the others. So you swing and you swing. And you think you're getting more momentum with each swing, right? So you just kind of keep swinging, and maybe on your third swing or your fourth swing, you finally attempt that muscle up. But what you don't realize is those swings are taking energy. So my suggestion is to, and it took me a while to do this too. Once you've got a grip on the rings, whether you're standing on some boxes or you're jumping up onto those rings, pull your knees up to your chest and kind of stick your legs out a little, just enough so that you can scoop back. And then you just back swing and then poof, into your muscle up, right? Take out all those extra swings in front. They're going to exhaust you. Anyway, that is all I have to say about that. I hope this helps. If this stuff helps you get your first muscle up, please share it with me. I would love to see all of your first muscle ups, or all of you working on these progressions to improve your muscle ups. But that's all I've got for you today. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Let me know what else you want to see. And other than that, I will see you next week.